I will spend the next few minutes briefly talking about Mark Bracher's book, Radical Pedagogy. Mark Bracher is a former colleague of mine, a mentor of mine, and also a good friend, and I've found his work to be extremely useful, not just in my teaching, but also in scholarship, because his work deals so much with the questions of identity. So without belaboring the point much, we need to first establish, what does he mean by radical pedagogy, right? So in order to clearly understand it, we have to understand that for him, education has a certain specific purpose. And since I'm a humanist and teach humanities, I apply it to the humanistic education. But what Mark suggests in his book is that the fundamental aim of education should be to support and develop students' identities. Now, if you think of it a little bit, we already know that education does develop students' identities. Even if they are in professional programs, what that education is teaching them is to train themselves to become that person. If they are training to be a doctor, fine, they learn the skills. But here, the question of training or supporting and developing students' identities is crucial to our students being also humans in the world, right? And generally, it will apply to anybody, a group of students. And before we do that, what is generally, what do we understand by identity? Okay, so, according to Bracher, identity is generally speaking our sense of self. And our sense of self and knowing that that self matters in the world. That's how we think of ourselves. That's how we understand ourselves in the world. So every student who walks into your classroom has a sense of their own self and wants that self to matter in the world, to be counted. So, think of your own lives. Most of the times we get flustered and frustrated when someone withholds that recognition from us. So deep down, we all have a sense of ourselves. We all want to believe that it's important, that it's recognized. And that is what a social identity means within the context of this text. So if we can buy into the idea that one major purpose of education is, to support and develop students' identities, that presupposes that we understand how does identity work, how is it constructed, because only then can we deliver the kind of pedagogy and education that allows us to help our students develop those identities. Because if we don't really understand it clearly, then even our well-meaning practices could sometimes do more harm. Right? And that is why it is crucial to read Mark Bracher. It is crucial to read this book. You may disagree with all explanations of pedagogy, and you may not follow all the practices, but knowing these things, knowing how he explains it, what is his research based in, I think is extremely crucial.